You're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
4 seconds left. In front. Happy moment. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the first Stanley Cup. And the Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup. Lightning strikes twice. The Tampa Bay Lightning win their second straight Stanley Cup.
Welcome in, Bolts Nation, to another episode of RBLR Lightning here at RBLR Sports. My name is Yurika, and I am suited and booted, ready for another amazing show for you. And of course, I am not alone. Of course, I have the one and only from The Bolt Report, Jake Yurika. Jake, what's going on, my man?
Nothing much, Eureka. I am just so happy we are finally back and talking about some Lightning hockey. It has been, it's like the gif that people use from the Titanic movie. It's been 84 years. It's what it's felt like. We're finally back with some Lightning hockey. We got a game to recap, and we have a super exciting thing to talk about that's coming up this Saturday.
I couldn't. I have no idea what that could possibly be. Well, before we get into kind of the outdoor shenanigans, the first thing I do want to get right into is that Cory Perry, our man, on the school bus line, Cory Perry scores his 400th goal. And this is pretty cool because his first goal back in 2005, the ancient year of 2005, his first goal was against Edmonton, and now he scores his 400th against Edmonton, becoming the 103rd player all time to ever score 400 or more goals. There are just so many exclamation points in my notes here. The goal itself, though, wasn't a highlight reel play, but Sergachev gets his shot deflected, and Perry crashes the net on a power play. And our boy Cory Perry is known for hanging around that blue ice, so it's definitely on brand to score it this way. But the question, at least I want to throw it to you by saying, I remember when we first got Cory Perry, I don't think we really thought he was going to go on such a scoring tear, but it must be nice for what he's been able to provide for the Lightning. So what were your thoughts on 400 and what he's done so far in his Lightning tenure?
Well, first of all, huge congratulations to him, obviously.
Yeah.
That is a awesome accomplishment. I know all the players were hyping him up. I know Pat Maroon was super excited for him, former teammate of his as well. And you're exactly right. It wasn't a highlight reel goal, but it was precisely on brand for a guy like Cory Perry to score a goal like that. So awesome for him to get that goal. And, I think it's fine. I think we said at the beginning of the season, I'd have to go back and listen to one of our old shows, though. Mm-hmm. I think we said 20 goals is what we were hoping for. It would be an ideal for Cory Perry. But he scored 14 goals so far already, and we still have, a quarter of the season left. Yeah. We haven't hit the trade deadline yet, which is coming up relatively soon. But, we still have a decent chunk of games left to be played. And he's already at 14 goals. He's got 28 points total this year. That is very, very, very good, especially considering the slow start that he got off to at the beginning of this season. But I'm extremely pleased with Cory Perry. I was excited when he came here. I think a lot of people expected him to be more of a grinder, kind of Pat Maroon type of guy. But he has brought back his Cory Perry type of ways, like he was back with Anaheim, and has been doing it with Tampa, which is awesome to see. Now, obviously, he's not, what he really used to be in scoring, 30, 40 goals, but he has been on a tear lately. He's playing extremely well, and hopefully that can only continue as we get further into the season here.
Yeah, and I'm trying to look it up real quick, but how many his high, I think, would be his goals is he's got to be on pace. I think he scored over 30 a couple times, been close to it a couple times, but I think he's on pace to either be close to his high or not. But yeah, here it is. He scored 35 and 32, and he scored, well, I guess, yeah. But so it's pretty crazy that he could be this lethal, I guess, from a guy who's on our third line. It's just been all of the expectations, I think, have been met or exceeded with Cory Perry. So did you see the video? I know we were talking about it in the group chat. Like Chris was actually at the game, and he was telling us about the video package they played. It was a nice fitting tribute, standing ovation for everyone at the Ice Palace.
Yeah, I unfortunately did not get to see that. I hope it's floating around on somewhere
Yes.
on Twitter. I'm sure it is. I have not seen it though, but good on the Lightning having that ready to go. Which is awesome that he got it at Amalie Arena, because I remember we were talking about too. He was one off the last time the Lightning played when they weren't at home. So I think it's even cooler for him to get it. I think, and some reporters asked him about this too, what it meant to him getting it in front of friends and family too. I know his son was at the game last night too. I know his son asked him to score 6 goals that night. Obviously wasn't able to do that, but he got his number 400th, so that was pretty awesome. And I'll definitely have to check out that video though, because that's a really cool tribute, especially he's only been on this team for a year, not even a year technically. Yeah. And he loves it here. He's been enjoying it. I know reporters asked him about it, and he was talking about how much he loves Tampa. So that's awesome to see.
Yeah, not surprising. I mean, it's a well-run organization with a very engaged fan base. Of course, all the social media. I know you and I have had graphics ready. I know you were giving kudos to the Lightning. You and I both had graphics ready to shoot out on social media immediately for it. So it was... I'm glad it didn't take longer than it should have. I mean, he scored about 12 days ago, I think, was $3.99. We had this long extended break, and then finally he got 400. But I guess in games, it's only 2 games, but because of this long layover, it was so long.
In days, it felt like
we were
a year.
just sitting there, like, okay, we need to let this thing fly. Let's go, buddy. But he gets it done, and although it's not the 6, I think it's a pretty good compromise. But I guess that's the game. That's the one game we can talk about because it's been almost over a week since we've had a game here. The 5-3 victory over the Edmonton Oilers. The rest of the league has been playing catch up, so the break has given us a chance. Again, we've had 2 of these breaks now to kind of rest and reload. Haven't been so good on games after those breaks. The Lightning are like undefeated or whatever. Like if you beat us, you can't beat us immediately. However, just give us a week off and we lose. So there's a trend happening. But after this particularly long break, what were you expecting to see out of the Bolts, and did they surpass or meet your expectations?
I was hoping to see, obviously them come out strong. I was expecting them to have another slow start and maybe start to, fall behind a little bit, then make a comeback, and maybe it would be enough, maybe not. That's usually how things go for the Lightning when they have an extended break.
Yeah.
But also, I heard a stat thrown out that somebody said when the Lightning have 8 days or more off, they're actually like 8-1-1, which kind of shocked me. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. But yeah, I was obviously expecting them to get off to a slow start, but they didn't, honestly. There were definitely a lot of things in this game that didn't look good. For example, the special teams was not ideal. They did end up scoring on one of the power plays, but special teams didn't look great. Penalty kill gave up 1. There was definitely some things they needed to improve on. It needed some work, but they were able to score the first goal. They held a lead for the entire game, and overall, after considering an 8-day break, played very well and ended up getting the 2 points at the end of the day. So they definitely exceeded my expectations. Wasn't a perfect game by any means, but the fact that they got the win and played relatively well for the most part is definitely a positive sign for Bolts fans.
Yeah, I think if you look at the Cooper, I think was on the same train as you, is that like they got off to a really hot start, but it just didn't feel like, even though the Bolts were up by multiple goals at different points in this game, it never felt like Edmonton was completely put out. It never really felt like, as much as they were scoring, they just couldn't exactly put the final nail in the coffin. And I think if you look at some of the time on ice, if you look at some of the younger guys like Radish and Foote, under 10 minutes of ice time, the very least of all of them, and it just kind of shows that I think Coop was there were some special teams. We scored on a power play. The Perry goal was on a power play, but other than just those situations where you would have your top 5 guys on the ice, I think he was relying a little bit more on the front lines, I guess, and the top defensive pairings. I mean, you look at Chernak, Hedman, McDonough, all with like over 22 minutes of ice time here. So that kind of thing is what I was looking for, is just like, even though they didn't kill them, Cooper responded by keeping the right guys on the ice, I guess.
Yeah, precisely. And again, listen, not every win is going to be perfect.
Sure.
This is, our job as people, fans of the game. We watch and try to critique them, like, this is where we need to get better. But for the most part, as long as you get the job done at the end of the day, that's the most important part, right? And they did get off to a good start, which is something that's been an issue for them for a long time. And the fact that we saw them correct that, I think, is a very positive side. Because we say all the time on the show, it's like, listen, you had a bad game. The question is that something that's going to continue, or are you going to find a way to correct it? And the Lightning have done that. They did that again with the slow start issue here. They did not have that this game. Now, granted, a different issue kind of showed up here and they need to work on, but they know how to fix things moving forward. So that's why, this game exceeded expectations for me.
Well, I was happy because, of course, if you just told me we got outshot, we got out-hit, again, face-offs was almost a 60-40 difference to the Oilers, and they were only 1 for 4 on power plays. That kind of,
you might have thought they lost.
I would have told you, yeah. I would, if we can come out with the points in that, like, not an overtime win, but the full points, that's a good thing. As much as it's not a long-term strategy. On a night-to-night basis, hey, it's a marathon. You got to get the points when you can. So I am not going to be heartbroken that we won in a game that all these statistics went against us. But were you said there's a few issues that you saw creeping up. My thing was the third period again. I was kind of a bit nervous once Edmonton made it a 1-goal game, but what were some of the issues you saw that you are looking for them to fix in the short term?
Special teams is the biggest thing that jumps out at me, and this is something we're going to have to talk about when we get closer to the trade deadline. If Lightning are possibly able to make a move to try and fix that, it'd be very difficult to pull off, and we'll talk about this later. But the special teams has still been an issue for me. Penalty kill is usually pretty good. They only had 1 penalty in this game, which is pretty good. Yeah. But, power play being 1 for 4 is definitely not ideal. They didn't look great at times. They did end up getting that 1 power play goal. But that is something I definitely would like to see them capitalize on, because we talk about this all the time too, right? Once you get into the playoffs, your power play chances start to get limited. You're not always going to have 4 power plays in a game, and you have to capitalize on those few opportunities that you get. Obviously, you're not going to go, 2 for 2, 3 for 3 every single night, but 2 for 4 would have been much more ideal, or at least, looking like you're banging on the door trying to score a goal. Your power play looks good. You're building momentum kind of thing. So that's probably my biggest red flag. You're right. The third period did feel like they kind of went into that lockdown mode, and it did get close there for a little bit, but they did get the job done. And, they were able to score the empty net too from Kucherov, which was nice, and secure the win. So, it's nothing major. And also real quick, can we, we're talking about Cory Perry not having a highlight reel goal, but who did have a highlight reel goal in this game was Steven Stamkos. That was a beautiful shot. It was even a no-looker too. I saw after the fact. He wasn't even looking at a net, and he just sniped it top corner and put that puck in the back of the net. He is continuing to have an unbelievable season.
Snipe is exactly the right word. He just puts it right in the corner. It was just like a laser, and I was behind the helm of the RBLR Twitter, and I was just like, hey, the Stamkos kid, he's got a pretty good future here. It's just like, it's just crazy that we get to watch this every night, and it's you take it for granted, but this is when we talk about the playoffs, when we talk about power play, like, this is the kind of weapon that we have at our disposal. So, I
texted my friend when he scored that goal. I said, McDavid, who?
Ooh. Ooh, yeah.
And he ended up scoring in this game too, McDavid. And I was like, oh boy, I shouldn't have said something.
Yeah, I mean, but it was good. It was good to see. I mean, Maroon got a goal. Stammer, obviously. Point followed him not too long ago after that. And then Kucherov gets an empty netter at the end. That was the 5 goals that they scored. So, but Vasilevsky's saving 27 out of 30, which is almost what was it? They had 20-something shots. We had 30. They had 30. We had like 20. So a lot of traffic coming to Vasilevsky, but the Bolts again coming up in the block shots department. This is a team that absolutely will get in front of the puck and help out their Hall of Fame goaltender here. So a lot of traffic, a lot of things. What did you see out of Vasilevsky?
Oh, Vasilevsky's just Vasilevsky, right? It's so, I mean, he is so impressive in the saves that he's able to make. He's the athleticism that he has of stretching that pad out sometimes and being able to track the puck. I think that's the most impressive thing about him is how well he can track the puck and find it and making top-notch saves. And also the other thing too is how good he is at making saves right away. You know, like sometimes it takes goalies like a couple of shots to get in a groove, and if they have the other team has a really good chance right away, it's really hard to stop. Vasilevsky can come into a game cold if he wanted to, and he's instantly right on, ready to go and make it, 10 bell saves. And he did that in this game. So he's just continuously so impressive. It is seriously baffling to watch. And I think, there's going to come a point when, years down the road when he finally does retire or leave or whatever it is, we're going to miss this. It's almost like we're taking it for granted right now. I mean, it's seriously amazing what he's able to do.
We're going to be talking about this particular era of Lightning hockey for a very long time. I mean, there are kids and teenagers today that I hope we win the Stanley Cup every year, but there's going to be a time where it's not so good, and this will be the time that cements that fandom and that long-term, this Lightning like craze that will continue in this area. And it's going to be, you and I sitting back smoking cigars in our 60s talking about, do you remember when, we had all these All-Stars and Hall of Famers on one team, and this is amazing. But
back in my day,
yeah. Well, another thing I think you're going to talk about for a long time is your trip this weekend to the next game that we play, and that is the outdoor series with the most fashionable team in the National Hockey League, and that is the Nashville Predators. Look, man, you're going to this.
Fashionable is a debate there with their jerseys.
That was a dig. Smashville, not so hot with the jerseys, but with our killer jerseys, and you have one. I saw you post you with your number 60 on the back. So you'll be looking good. Nashville will be looking horrible. But what are you like? I mean, this is insane. You're going to be there. What are you looking forward to the most this weekend?
Oh man, there is so much I am looking forward to. I've known about this trip for a while, but in the last couple of days here, it's been starting to come. You're just starting to think like, wait, this is actually happening. I'm actually going to Nashville to watch an outdoor game. Like, this is going to be so much fun. I am so excited. I did get my jersey just a couple of days ago. I'm really glad they got them out on time. I know a couple people were having some problems with it because it's a tough situation for them, but they're getting those jerseys out and they do look beautiful in person. I'm very happy with them. But let's see, most excited for, honestly, it's going to be the game is what I'm most looking forward to. There's going to be a lot of awesome events going on and around, and I know the NHL has got some very fun things planned for the pregame, but just to be inside a football stadium full of, I think Nissan Stadium holds about 76,000, if I remember correctly. Okay. 70,000 hockey fans is going to be unbelievable. Like, that's what that's my favorite part of sporting events, is being with fans of your team and celebrating these awesome moments. People from all walks of life coming together for one big sporting event. So that's what I'm super excited about, to see all these people watching a hockey game. It is going to be unreal. There is so much that they've got going on and planned, which is really, really cool.
Are you bringing a jacket for that 48-degree weather that's the high?
Eureka.
That's
Eureka.
the high.
Eureka. I'm not just bringing a jacket. I am bringing I'll have a shirt, sweatshirt, my jersey, a beanie, pants. I'm gonna have the whole 9 yards. I'm gonna be freezing. I think it's actually supposed to be too. I think the weather, it's been changing, because the weather changes all the time, and it's hard to tell a couple days out. But they're calling, I think the low is 29 degrees by the time puck drop. So
yeah, I think
it's going to be cold.
Yeah, between 6 and 7 should be around 40 something degrees. But it by the end of the game, it'll be close to 39, and that doesn't even come into if there's a wind, right? I mean, we are outdoors. Right. We have to think about this too. You are outdoors, so who knows what a wind chill might factor in, but nonetheless, I just thought it'd be funny. Just some Florida boys in the in the stands, freezing your buns off while you're watching hockey outside. Love it.
Yeah, it is going to be awesome, and I'm really excited for the events too that they've got. I know the Nashville Predators are putting on some events at Winter Park. They got a whole bunch of concerts going on, and then the NHL has their whole pregame thing, and they've got so many different events and all these different sponsors. It's actually kind of hilarious. They've got sports books that are going to be there for 21 and plus older guests. They've got skills competition things going on. You can do your hardest shot. I think there's one that Clorox is sponsoring where you have to beat the sneeze to see if your shot is faster than a normal human sneeze, which is pretty cool. You got the accuracy challenge going on there. They've got obviously merchandise stands that are going to be set up. So there's going to be a lot of fun things to do. And I will be sure to document as much of it as I can so we can talk about it here too as well. So, it's going to be so much fun. And actually, I want to talk about this, Yurika. I have a little trivia question for you.
No.
Yeah, don't worry. I want to put you on the spot. The Lightning, obviously, this is their first franchise game for the Lightning. They've never played in one. However, there's actually a decent amount of players on the Lightning that have played in an outdoor game. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, do you know how many Lightning players currently on the team have played in at least one outdoor game in the NHL?
Well, I would think Maroon, because maybe St. Louis played outdoors while he was there. This is really bad, but I would say, Belmar maybe we brought in, and then maybe a couple. I'm gonna say 3 players have already played in an outdoor. Oh no! Elliott 4. I'll say 4.
It's there's a lot more than you think. So actually, are you ready for this? It's 7. There are 7.
Okay.
And that's not including Kachuk, who is, I don't know if he's traveling with the team or not. He has been playing as of late, but with him, it's 8. So there are 7 players on the Lightning that have actually played an outdoor game before. The biggest one that you forgot is Ryan McDonough. He's actually played in the most. This will be his 5th outdoor game. He played in 4 with the New York Rangers. And then Cory Perry, he played in 2. He's obviously most famous for the Walk of Shame when he played with Dallas in that one. Actually played the Nashville Predators in that game. And then you were right about Brian Elliott. Elliott actually started in a game for the Flyers. Pat Maroon played in 2 with the Ducks and the Oilers. He actually did not play with the Blues. He was gone by the time that they played in their game. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare has played in 2 games as well.
That whole line has played out.
Yeah, exactly right. That whole entire line. And then Zach Bogosian as well, although he's not going to be playing, obviously, because he is injured, unfortunately. Bogosian did play in one against the, I believe it was the Flyers that they played against. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah. So there's, and then Taylor Radish and Boris Kachuk have both played in an outdoor game, but it wasn't at the NHL level. They played in college. So they technically do have some outdoor experience, but a lot more than you would think, right?
Yeah. No, it was double what I thought. So yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot more players that, and actually, believe it or not, I think the only person that's lost in an outdoor game is Bellemare. He's the only one. McDonough's 4-0. Cory Perry's 2-0.
Sit him then, Coop. If you're listening, sit him on the bench, man. No.
Bench him. But there's a lot of experience, and I'm curious. what has Vasilevsky and Elliott talked about? Elliott has started an outdoor game, and I'm sure starting outdoors is very different than playing a regular NHL game. So I'm wondering if Brian Elliott has been given some advice to Vasilevsky, kind of a role reversal thing for once. Elliott talking to Vassy about how things are going to go. But yeah, there's actually a lot of experience for the Lightning in outdoor games, which is pretty cool. And then obviously, as I mentioned earlier, Nashville played and won themselves. They lost that game to the Dallas Stars, so they are 0-1 in the outdoor games, and hopefully we can make it 0-2.
Oh, yeah, all the way. I mean, that would just be the icing on the cake, of course. But it's stuff like this that I love the NHL is doing, because right after an All-Star game a few weeks ago, it's a good way to, this is the time. Football is over. The Super Bowl has happened. They had their moment in the sun. The NBA All-Star Game is come and gone, right? So this is the NHL being able to kind of seize the spotlight again in the consciousness of maybe a casual observer with a cool spectacle event that not only is good for them as casual fans, but also like, people like you that are traveling to go to this event and just kind of celebrate hockey and be able to do something that's out of the norm, but still means something without being too gimmicky or too outlandish, because at the end of the day, the rink is the same size, they're going to play, and the points do matter. So,
right.
Yeah. So kudos to them for that.
Yeah, and the renderings that I don't know if anybody's seen those renderings that they've put out of what the stadium's going to look like. I mean, it looks fantastic. They've really done a good job. Obviously, I haven't been there yet, so I don't want to jump to conclusions. But from what I've seen and what I've read that they've got set up, it looks fantastic. Like, I know for this is for 21 and up for fans of that age, but they've got a whole bunch of bar crawl events that you can go to and do with your teams. I've seen on Facebook a couple of the Lightning groups have a fan meetup planned. I know they said today that the Lightning said they sold somewhere in between 15,000 to 20,000 tickets from the team specifically, and that doesn't include secondary resale markets. So there is going to be tons of Bolts fans. Everybody's talking about their travels up to. Everybody's headed to Nashville around this time right now, or flying out tomorrow or something like that. So it's going to be so much fun, and I can't wait to experience it all and take it in. I can't wait, and hopefully we come home with a win, because that's definitely going to stink if we can't finish it off with a win. But I do like our chances.
Well, and getting into a little bit more of on the ice, we saw a little bit of shifting in lines, but for the most part, it's been you still got Point, Palat, Kucherov on the top, Killorn, Stammer, Joseph as the second line, Maroon, Belmar, Perry. That outdoor I'm not witty enough to come up with a name right now about the open air line, and then you got Colton, Sorelli, Radish.
Open air line.
The open air line. I don't know. I got nothing.
I like that.
I'm just like. But then I think it's been a little bit of shaking up on the defensive pairings. Hedman, Ruda, top shelf, Ryan McDonough, Eric Chernak, and then Sergachev is with Foot. So do you expect Cooper to play around? He played around with that a little bit over the week, but that's kind of been what we've seen. So what do you think, just in terms of what Nashville's going to present to us and what our lines are going to be against them?
I mean, basically the lines you just read off is what I expect to see. I don't think Kachuk is going to play. It's probably going to be Radish. Obviously, we know Bogosian is out. And so Foot is more than likely going to be the one filling in there. I doubt you see Schuster. I know Lightning are really trying to see what they have in Foot right now as well, and hoping he can kind of continue to take that next step. And then as for the Predators, they're kind of in a similar situation where they actually don't have a tons of injuries as well. Both teams have I think one guy that's on the injured list. But the Predators they're a good hockey team. They're sitting at the top spot in the wild card right now, if I'm not mistaken. So, they've got a decent amount of firepower ready to go for them as well. But listen, the Lightning on paper are the better team, and they've been playing like it for a while now. So, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to how do you adapt by the time the puck drops. Once the puck drops, are you able to make adjustments? Can you get off to that quick start? and the elements will obviously also play a factor. That's one area Nashville is going to have a big advantage, is that the fact that they literally just played an outdoor game not too long ago. So pretty much all of their players have played outdoors before. And I do think that'll be a factor.
Yeah, and I like too that Nashville isn't a pushover. I mean, positive goal differential this year. They're technically it's a home game, but it's not, because they're not playing. It's going to be a different situation for them. So right. I think as good as they are at home, they're also just like literally just their record is almost the same on the road, including 4 overtime losses. So even the losses have been gritty, grind out, like, you know, they're at least sharing points in that situation. So I'm expecting it to be a very nice game between two not evenly matched teams, but we've seen that if you start out hot against the Lightning, or just wait long enough and maybe that third period will kick in, that they'll give you a chance to get back in it. Hopefully I'm wrong about all that, but at least it, just as an observer watching the game, it should be pretty tense throughout the entire game. It won't, like, I don't expect us to come out and score 5 goals in the first. I also hopefully don't expect us to give up 2 or 3 in the third to make it super tense, but it should be pretty even throughout, and hopefully we end up winning by 2. So whatever your bet app is, that's where I would be taking.
Bet win by 2. Well, that's kind of what you're going to see, right? You know, it's for the Predators, it's, you know, come out fast early, because the Lightning are going to have to try to adjust to playing in the outdoor elements for the most part. You know, guys like Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Vasilevsky, all of their big stars have not played in these type of games, so they're going to have to get used to it. But the longer the Predators wait to try and take advantage of that what's the word I'm looking for? That, you know, dang it, what's the...
Well, I think it wears off. Like, you know, people always say, like, when you're in the these
advantage,
big events,
that's what I was thinking of,
and you get this little bit of advantage that, like, once you get punched in the mouth, it just becomes another game, and so then you just kind of like, the elements kind of go away, the crowd goes away, the spectacle goes away, and now you're just another hockey game.
So that's going to be the big thing, right? So the first period, like, are the Predators able to come out with a lead after the first period? Because by that time, the Lightning will probably have gotten used to everything and are ready to go at full speed. And if the Lightning have the lead at that point, you know, I think the odds are more in their favor. So the Predators are definitely going to need to get off to a faster start before that advantage wears out. But I know a lot of the players are also looking forward to it and going to enjoy this moment, because that's the most important thing too, because, you know, this is something that obviously does not happen often. Lightning have never done this before, and who knows when they're going to get a chance to do another one of these. And that's the other thing too, for, you know, especially the Lightning. You know, Tampa fans trying to show out big in this game and show the NHL, like, hey, we're here to play, we're here to party. Like, we would love an outdoor game here in Tampa if we can ever pull it off, or maybe we'll be invited to another one if we can get tons of fans showing up and showing that, are continuing to show really that Tampa is one of the top hockey markets.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really cool to see the distant Thunder, the people that live in that area that aren't necessarily able to come to Tampa to see a game. And with the NHL, you're only in these markets once or twice. So I think it's a good, and this being the spectacle that it's going to be, and the capacity of the stadium, and it just offers so much opportunity for someone anywhere in that area, from Georgia or the Virginias or whatever, to come, or even the Midwest, to kind of come down and watch this and be part of their team. Because I know the Lightning, especially with all the success that we've had recently, it's engendered so much support. We're a team that people want to root for, even if they've never crossed the state line of Florida. So, I mean, with all this firepower, with all the star power, with all the Hall of Fame stuff, plus they're just fun to watch. So I definitely see why, again, this is a good step for the NHL. And I'm just surprised that we've never been in one of these yet. I get having some of the prestigious teams of the past, the original 6 guys, and some of the teams that were very good in the 90s, right? Like, I mean, we saw the Red Wings and Avalanche do one of these, and so it's just good that now we've got kind of the next generation of successful franchises, because Nashville hasn't been a pushover, and the Lightning obviously would be the leader of that pack. So I keep gushing about it. I'm excited just to watch it. I can only imagine your pins and needles as you get ready. I'm assuming you're getting out of here sometime soon.
Tomorrow morning, at least as of this recording, is when I'll be flying out, and I'm getting ready to pack after we get done recording this, actually. So, I know when I get on that plane, I'm going to be even more excited. It's just going to get more real as we get closer and closer. But I cannot wait to be eating some Nashville hot chicken and watching our Bolts play in the great outdoors, and it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait. There's so much stuff that they've got planned, and it's going to be a ton of fun.
Well, when you're eating that chicken, I hope you take off your jersey, because you don't want to get that jersey.
No, right? Can't get that dirty.
But underneath that jersey, I got something for you. That is the brand new shirt that we've put out. That gets the Year of the Tiger. We got Trophy of the Tiger at shop.rblrsports.com. This is our mascot. He's in full blue and white. This is a cool shirt, man. It's cute for the kids. It's cool just to have our own little mascot here for RBLR. If you use the promo code BOLTS, BOLTS, you will get 10% off your order at shop.rblrsports.com. That is, there's a link right in the description, so it's something you can get. It won't be there in time for this week's game, but for you listening there, it's a cool shirt. Add it to your collection, and it helps support the pod. So, of course, we love it when you like and subscribe. That's absolutely free and huge to us. But if you got a couple bucks, why not have a cool little T-shirt? So. But outside of that, that's something that I think a lot of people will want. A month away from the trade deadline, though, is there anything you want the Bolts to maybe go after? Is there a piece? You did mention a little teaser about the power play. What's on your wish list for the trade season that's just about a month away?
Yeah, so special teams is probably the biggest thing for me personally, and I know a lot of Bolts fans too would also, not mind adding a right-handed defenseman, because the Lightning are very thin on the right-handed side. I know a lot of people aren't sold on Cal Foote either. Unfortunately, he just hasn't made that huge jump that people have expected of him. He could still be a viable defenseman, and he's been doing that all year so far. But I know the right-handed defenseman and some special teams kind of guy is what people are looking at the most. I've heard rumors, and I don't know if these are true. These are kind of just early rumors that have been floating around. But the Lightning have been linked to guys like I believe it's John Klingberg. I hope I pronounced that right. Or the Dallas Stars, which is a pretty big name. Yeah. They've been linked to him as well. So those are the two spots I would like to see the Lightning make a move, whether it's a bigger splash or even if it's just a minor trade, because I think they could use some help there.
Yeah, there's a few guys, I guess at the top of the list of defensemen, like Justin Braun of the Flyers. He's the guy, doesn't make a bajillion dollars. He's 35, so he's just a solid defenseman who has over 100 games of playoff experience. There's a couple of guys. I mean, I don't think the Kraken are going to trade Mark Giordano so quickly, but
they could give us Yanni Gord back.
But they could. I mean, hey, let's if they want to package him with Yanni Gord and we give him a bag of pucks or something, or we give him one of those mystery pucks that have been all the rage, all the rage. You guys can have 100 mystery pucks signed by the back-to-back champion Lightning here for Mark Giordano, wouldn't it? And Yanni Gord, that'd be great. Oh, for them, it's such a great trade. I don't get why they wouldn't just do that right now. But yeah, there's a couple guys, and as we get closer to the trade deadline, I'm sure we'll have a little bit more insight on that. But that's good, man.
The Predators as well have been talking about shopping Philip Forsberg. Which is interesting.
That's a good point. I didn't think. Yeah, I didn't bring that up. No, they have been linked. So I was gonna say maybe that's lurking in the background of this weekend's festivities of he's their leading scorer. I'm pretty sure he's their leading scorer, and that would be. I mean, they're not quite out of it though, but I think if you're thinking long-term plans, maybe he's not.
And this is obviously going to be a rental player that the Lightning go and pick up. He's not going to be sticking around long term. And the thing is, for the Lightning, originally I was always like, the Lightning have no money. Right now in cap space, the Lightning have $850,000, and that's only because Bogosian is on LTIR. As soon as Bogosian is back, the Lightning have literally $0 in cap space. So any trade that the Lightning make, a roster player has to be going out. Now, they can do what they've done before and pull off that 3-team trade where, the first team retains 50%, and then the second team retains 50% again, and then that player goes Lightning like they did with a couple trades, a couple years ago. So technically it's a 75% retention at that rate. So that is something they can do, and that's how they would be able to get a player with a higher salary cap. But obviously that's a lot harder to pull off when you have 3 teams involved and you have to start giving up draft picks, which the Lightning did to make that work a couple years ago. But that is a possibility. So it's not out of the question that Lightning can trade for a bigger name player, but definitely a lot more difficult. And somebody like, I don't know, if it's a forward, Taylor Radish would have to go. Cal Foote would have to go if it's defense. But there has to be a roster. There is no, trading a bunch of minor guys and picks to get a guy. It just won't work.
Yeah, and I think injuries have maybe put a little bit of a wrench, like the Bogo. I mean, they've recalled Suster a few times up and down. But I think if we had a few less injuries, and these little stretches of time have helped, I guess, keep us together, outside of just duct tape and motor oil. But like there'll be, I think, hopefully a little more clarity in about 2 or 3 weeks as we get right into the deadline. So we'll see what they do with that. A lot of JBB late night sessions, I think.
Late night magic.
Yeah, there's going to be some thinking, but if there's anybody that I trust, it's definitely them. They must have like a good line with like the Rays front office about like how do you just fleece people. We've been talking about that on RBLR Rays about like we just get these dudes, and like if you get an 813 or 727 like area code coming up, like you don't take that call. Just
right?
You're a GM. You just do not, like, hey, go to voicemail. We'll hear what you want, and I'll Google everything and respond to you back, because they must just sucker these dudes into these trades. They always work. So
it's funny you mentioned that. I'm gonna try to pull it up quickly, but a couple of days ago, it was the anniversary of when the Lightning made a trade with the Red Wings, and they traded like these 2 minor guys for a draft pick. And that draft pick ended up becoming Andrei Vasilevsky.
Oh, no.
So it is like, when you look at it now, it is one of the greatest. Here, I just found it. So this was a couple days ago. But on that day in 2012, the Lightning traded Kyle Quincy to the Red Wings for Sebastian Piche, I believe is how you pronounce it, and a first-round pick in 2012. The Lightning would use that pick to select Andrei Vasilevsky, 19th overall in the first round. Like, that is unbelievable that they pulled that trade off and got one of arguably the greatest goaltenders to ever play the game, especially in this era right now.
Yeah. Well, it'd be even better. Like we were talking about the Rays. We were talking about like when we got Tyler Glass now and a couple other guys for Chris Archer, and then like literally a year later, Chris Archer just left the team and came back to the Rays. So it's like not only did we like fleece them in the trade, but then we got the guy that we traded away back, like for
Unbelievable.
it's ridiculous. It'd be like if Kyle Quincy just like came back then the very next year. So it's just like, okay. Jake, this has been an awesome time. Is there any final words for you before we get out of here and get you packed up and ready to go for your trip this weekend?
I think we pretty much covered it. Safe travels to anybody that is headed up to Nashville, whether you're flying or driving. Hopefully I can see a ton of Bolts fans there. I cannot wait. We'll be documenting it all, whether it's here on RBLR and our podcast, or whether it's on the Bolt Report, whatever it is. Yep. We will have all the coverage for you of that game. I cannot wait. I am so excited, and hopefully we are coming home with a win down there in Music City.
We will definitely be retweeting your stuff at RBLR Sports. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and wherever you're listening to this as well. If you're on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or YouTube, wherever you're, hit that little subscribe button. Hit that like button.
Free.
You've lasted. It's absolutely free. And you listening right now, you are the people that have lasted this entire episode. You are the rock stars and
The
so
MVPs.
the MVPs. And the one thing I can ask you is, hey, just hit that like button, or give us if there's a little area where you can put in a review, give us that 5-star review that I think Jake and I have been working very, very hard to give you. So thank you for listening to this. If you're listening to this on your way to Nashville or just pre-gaming, we thank you. And there's only one more thing to say, and that, of course, is go Bulls.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.